Out here in the heart of Dartmoor lies a place where the past lingers quietly among the ruins. These are the Dartmoor Gunpowder Mills, once a bustling site of industry, danger and survival. Built in 1844 by George Freen of Plymouth, this was the only gunpowder factory ever constructed on Dartmoor. Today it stands silent, reclaimed by nature, but every stone here has its story to tell. As we arrive at the mills, the first thing you notice is the stillness. The moor stretches out in every direction, and then scattered among the bracken and the moss the ruins have appeared. Around 18 stone buildings once stood here, each carefully placed apart to reduce the risk of one explosion triggering another. Today we see the thick granite walls, the chimneys rise from the ground, and the remains of structures that once produced one of the most dangerous and valuable substances of the 19th century, gunpowder. The powder mills began production in the mid-1840s, at a time when Dartmoor's remoteness was a perfect advantage. Away from the towns and the villages, the risk of explosion could be contained, and yet the mills were close enough to supply the granite quarries, the mines of Devon and Cornwall, and even the military. For over 50 years, this valley was alive with the controlled chaos of gunpowder making. Life here was harsh and dangerous. Workers carefully ground saltpetre, charcoal and sulphur into black powder. Each stage had its own building, refining houses for the raw ingredients, incorporating mills where water-powered wheels ground them together, press houses where the mixture was compressed into solid cakes, corning houses where those cakes were broken down into grains, and glazing houses where the powder was demolished to make it more stable. Each building was separated by wide spaces of open ground, safety barriers against disaster. Now, although there are no records of major catastrophe here at Dartmoor's powder mills, gunpowder making was never without risk. Elsewhere in Britain, entire buildings were destroyed by sudden blasts and lives were lost in an instant. Workers here would have lived with that constant awareness. Even a dropped tool, the scrape of a nail, or a spark from clothing could trigger tragedy. The very layout of this site, with its scattered buildings and wide gaps, was a daily reminder of the dangers that they faced. Walking through today, the ruins tell their own story. The roofs are long gone, the walls remain, some with narrow windows and heavy doorways, others open to the sky. A tall chimney still stands proudly, once serving the refining stoves. Leaks still run across the site carrying water that once powered the machinery. The sound of turning wheels and the grinding stone has long vanished, replaced by the quiet trickle of streams, the whisper of the wind through the grass. Nature has softened the hard edges of industry. Gunpowder making here followed a strict routine. Charcoal from local willow and alder was crushed, sulphur refined, and saltpetre ground down, each in its own separate building. The ingredients were then combined in the incorporating mills, their great water-powered wheels driving heavy stones in endless circles. The powder was pressed, broken, polished and finely dried before being stored in strong granite magazines ready for transport. Every wall we see today was once part of that chain, a series of tasks where precision meant survival. Standing here, surrounded by the stillness of Dartmoor, it's almost impossible to picture the industry that once filled this valley. Where once men worked amongst sparks, smoke and noise, there is only birdsong and the rustle of leaves. The ruins are softened by moss, the leats run quietly with water, and the walls of the cottages crumble gently back into the earth. What was once dangerous and volatile has become strangely peaceful. The powder mills remained active until around 1897. By then, newer explosives like dynamite had taken over the traditional black powder and demand fell away. The works closed and the buildings were left to decay. Slowly stone, but their story didn't vanish. The outlines of the buildings and the wheel pits and that solitary chimney all stand as reminders of a time when industry and danger were part of daily life. As we wander further, the spread of ruins becomes more apparent. Some are now little more than low walls hidden amongst gorse, but others stand tall enough to walk among. If you look closely, you can trace the functions of different buildings. The magazines with their thick walls and limited openings, the press houses with their sturdy stonework, the cottages with hearths that once warmed families. It's strange to imagine children growing up here playing on the edge of such a dangerous trade, their lives shaped by the rhythm of the mills. Today, the Dartmoor gunpowder mills stand as one of the most complete and surviving examples of Victorian gunpowder works in Britain. They remind us not only of Dartmoor's wild beauty, but also of the hard, risky lives that once worked here. As we leave these ruins behind, it's worth pausing to listen to the silence, to look at the stones softened by time, and to remember the people whose lives were bound up with this extraordinary place, a forgotten chapter of Dartmoor's story still written in the landscape. Thank you for joining us on this walk through Dartmoor's powder mills. Places like this remind us how much history still lingers quietly in the landscape, waiting to be rediscovered. And if you've enjoyed exploring with us today, don't forget to give this video a like and to subscribe to the channel for more journeys into Dartmoor's hidden past and beyond. And let us know in the comments, have you ever visited the powder mills, or do you have another favourite ruin on Dartmoor you'd like to see featured? Until next time, thanks for watching.